over, and this is sort of distracting, not really. All right, I'm gonna bring up Michael, and he came all the way out here from Texas, and I'm gonna try to take my fingers back. Step back. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Michael Badnarik.
Yeah.
Property. There is a one-word answer to every question about the Constitution. That word is property. Everything, all of our political strife is related in some way or another to property. Now, the good news is that everybody understands property. Property is a very simple concept. Even a 2-year-old understands the importance of private property. What's a 2-year-old's favorite word? Mine. Mine. I want it to be mine. Because if it's mine, the 2-year-old wants it to be mine so that I can control it. I can throw the bottle across the room and watch Mom run for it. You know, I can get Dad's car keys and hide them under the sofa cushion and watch him try to get to work in the morning. So mine is a very important word. Private property is a very important word.
Go ahead.
Property is a universal concept. It is a universal concept. There is no place on the face of the earth that you can go where people do not understand property. If my friends and I go to Paris and we're sitting along the Champs-Élysées watching all the French girls walk by, and I reach over and take somebody's croissant, they're going to start yelling at me, probably in French. And even though I don't speak French, I think we all understand why the French person is upset. I mean, don't you think? If they start yelling at you, you don't have to get a translator to know why they are disappointed and upset. Because you took their croissant. Now, if you go to a Middle Eastern country and you try to steal something in a Middle Eastern country, most of us already know that if you get caught stealing, they will cut your hand off. Most of us haven't been to Middle Eastern countries, but we all know the penalty for stealing in a Middle Eastern country. That's because if you are human, you need property in order to survive. You need your food, which is property. You need your shelter, which is property. You need all your toys around you so that you can pursue happiness your way. All of that is property. And property is so important that John Adams said, the moment the idea is admitted into society that property is not as sacred as the law of God, and that there's not a force of law and public justice to protect it, then tyranny and anarchy commence. Everything about the Constitution is to protect your life, your liberty, and your private property. That's why the Founding Fathers got together to create this government, to protect your property. In 2005, when the Supreme Court made the ruling in Kelo versus New London that the government can take your property and give it to somebody else because they're going to pay more in taxes, I got about 24 phone calls from people all over the world, or all over the United States, telling me, Michael, they can't do that, can they? Well, they're not calling me because they think the Supreme Court can do that.
Somebody do something about it.
Would you mind talk to the crowd here? You can ask me later. So, property is the fundamental aspect here. Why did we fight the American Revolution? For property. Before the Declaration of Independence, King George owned the 13 colonies. After the Declaration of Independence, we owned that property. It's always, always about property. Well, this is an End the Fed rally. Why are we here gathered to put an end to this institution? Because the Federal Reserve is guilty of theft. They have been guilty of theft ever since 1913. They started printing our money out of thin air. Now, if my friend and I went to my apartment and we started printing $20 bills, we could print maybe $10,000 dollars in $20 bills. We could rent a limo. We could go out for surf and turf. We'd have a really big night on the town. But if we get caught, we go to jail. And the charge is going to be counterfeiting because we've printed money that wasn't worth anything. Now, if the Federal Reserve has been printing money out of thin air since 1913, they have been counterfeiting our money. That's why our economy is in the shambles that it's in. And most of us here know that. The problem is that we have a couple hundred people here. We need several thousand people here. We need to spread the word. You need to talk to your family, your friends, your co-workers, and we need to have another rally 10 times as big as this rally. We need to let them know that we are not happy with the way things are going on. Now, part of the problem, one of the reasons that we are such a small crowd here is because the general public is not familiar with the difference between million, billion, and trillion. A million seconds is 11.6 days. A trillion seconds is a billion seconds is 31.7 years. A trillion seconds is 31,000 years, almost 32,000 years. In seconds, the United States government has $57 trillion of unfunded liability. There's no possible way we can actually pay that off. We've got to stop the government from printing this money so that we can at least have a problem that we can attack. So we need to get more people out. We need to be passionate, not with each other. You know, we're basically preaching to the choir here. We all understand why the Federal Reserve is bad. That's why we are here. But we need to get our friends, family, and neighbors out here to join us. And I'm gonna keep this short because I know you want to listen to music. This is a quote that I just discovered recently, just in the last 2 weeks. It is a quote by Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill says, "If you will not fight for the right when you can easily win without bloodshed, if you will not fight when your victory will be sure and not too costly, you may come to the moment when you have to fight with all the odds against you and only a precarious chance of survival. There may be even a worse case. You may have to fight when there is no hope of victory, because it is better to perish than to live as slaves." It is not too late, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have to live as slaves. We still have an opportunity to end the Fed. We have an opportunity to correct the corruption in government. We just need a lot more people than the several hundred gathered here today. So the one promise that I will make to you is that as long as I am capable of taking a breath, any day that I wake up in the morning and I can open my eyes, that is a day that I will be lighting the fires of liberty one heart at a time. Thank you so much for your attention.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together again for Michael Badnarik.